I can assure you he works here. What he's doing right now, I have no idea, because I don't have eyes on him. Anthony's going to watch him on our security camera, which is a little disturbing. All right. Is that enough intro band? Oh, I hear the music. The music is...
Do you?
Do I?
In your headphone?
By now, wait.
There it is.
I'm hearing the playing music.
Up.
Yes.
Turn up my headphones a little bit.
According to our producer, it is time for us to shut the hell up and start talking about some real stuff.
All right.
All right. Well, then in that case, welcome
to
the
Video Reformation Podcast. I'm Justin Plant.
I'm Ben Oliver.
And I'll let you take it from here.
Oh, I thought you were doing the intro this time.
No, I wouldn't dare.
All right. Well, then let me start over so we got a clean take of it.
Okay.
But we can use either one. I kind of liked it. Welcome to the Video Reformation Podcast. I'm Ben.
I'm Justin.
We're the co-founders of Storyboard Media and your guides to practicing effective video for business. Nerd alert, we're like the Virgil to your Dante on your journey through the Inferno.
It is hot in here today.
It is a little warm, which is unsettling. This is only episode 2 that we recorded in this studio.
Yeah. It's been frigid
and it was
in here.
Really cold last week.
Loved it.
It was perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so today's topic is the beginning of a new little mini series that we're going to do that kind of discusses different types of video, or different styles yes,
of video,
like the different styles of video. And so we thought that it would make sense to start the whole series by going over the different types of videos that are consistently made. Mm-hmm. And then we can use this episode as a way to kind of get into each of those types and understand why they might be used, when they might be used, what they do. And then we can just refer to them in our subsequent episodes so that we can say, all right, so branded content.
Yep.
Is it, how might you do it animated?
It's almost like an appendix that comes before the book.
Right. An introduction. This is like part 0 to the series.
That works.
Okay. So before we jump in, a couple little housekeeping things. I understand we do have a new sponsor this week.
Yes, it's a fun one.
Okay, well, we'll hear their ad later. Why don't you tell us what the name is?
It is 2020 The Game.
Ooh, 2020 The Game. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Do we all die? Well, I'll listen to the ad later. Also, a little bit of housekeeping. As we've mentioned in the last few episodes, we can, as you can see or hear, keep coming up with new topics to talk about on the podcast. We hope that they benefit you, but we'd actually like to hear directly from you, our faithful listeners, or new listeners. Either way, I don't really care, as to what you'd like to hear us talk about. So reach out to us in any way that you see fit and let us know what you want to hear more of. What questions do you want us to answer? Try to stump us, whatever you want to do. But we'd like to hear from you. Yeah, it could happen. Okay, so time to jump in.
Let's do it.
All right. It seems like the best way to organize this list of types of video was we kind of loosely did it by like stage of the funnel.
Yeah, I mean, again, setting
stage of the journey.
Setting
right?
the ground rules here. Most of our content is about B2B video.
Sure, yep.
And especially as it pertains to revenue teams, marketing, sales, customer success. And there are a whole bunch of opportunities for video within that realm. So we're going to start there, but there's a lot outside of that exists that has a place in every business.
Right, like
most.
Recruiting videos don't necessarily fit in a customer journey.
Yeah, and viral videos. Everybody's got to have one.
In fact, that should just be the title of this episode. We'll get our most downloads ever.
Yeah.
Viral videos. They're not real. Don't believe in them.
So it's loosely organized along that track.
All right.
And then we go off the rails.
Yeah. And so we talk about the law of diffusion of innovation a lot on this podcast. We'll talk about it a little bit later, but I think for a unifying funnel stages, I kind of like how the law of diffusion of innovation states it. It's the 5 stages of the adoption process. And so it starts with knowledge or awareness. Then it moves to persuasion, followed by decision, implementation, and then confirmation and continuation. So you can see how that goes from like not even knowing that you have a problem or that a solution is available to it, to assessing it, kicking the tires, understanding is it right for you, buying it, but then continuing to use it after you buy it.
Yep.
So it kind of matches up with, so we'll
variety of
loosely
models
use that as kind of our piece. So I think before the even typical awareness part of the funnel, there's kind of this pre-awareness piece. Things that you can do that happen before a prospect is even aware of your brand or aware that they have a problem. And that's where I like to put a lot of thought leadership stuff. How do you define thought leadership video content?
I like to think of it almost as like an intent-based, it's a response to someone's intent. They want to know more about X, or they want to know how to Y, or Z. Because that's confusing. But if you could kind of form questions like that. So, man, I wish I knew more about video for business. You would go looking for how do I make my first video for my company? And there will be series like this, or
I wish I knew more about the types of video I could make for my business.
Right.
And they might
Their
find
intent
this.
is to eventually get to video. The reason we're putting that content out there is to appear as a thought leader.
Yeah, I think thought leadership is I like your kind of audience focus of it. From a brand focus or a company focus, I think of it as like a way to share your expertise, right? Because of the experience that we have in this space, because of what we do and who works here, we know things about video for business, right? We do specifically. Your business may know things about project management because you're a project management software. You may know a whole lot about project management skills, tasks, things like that are outside of your specific platform. But people who want to learn how to manage projects better, if you can put that content out there that regardless of whether you're pitching your product or not, helps them better manage their products, then you're going to be that resource that's first of mind.
You've created a layer of trust with them that, these people know what they're talking about. They can help me solve my problems. I wonder what else they know or have to offer.
So I think it's important to put that kind of content. I mean, you really... So I think one of the first examples I heard about it was actually from a book that I mention a lot, Rework by Hannemeyer Hansen and Fried. They talk about how, I think they used Mario Batali, which I think has been Me Too'd since then. But
chef?
Yeah. So, he's got a whole bunch of famous restaurants. But he also spends a lot of time putting out books and going on TV shows and morning shows and all that kind of stuff. He's showing people how he makes the stuff that he makes. And he's not worried about somebody opening up a restaurant right next to him and stealing his restaurants and taking business away from him. He's showing, hey, this is that little bit that makes this special, or this is a flavor that works really well with this. He's just out there showing for people who are into food, hey, this is kind of behind the scenes. This is how I do it. And so that's an opportunity for them to either, if they are cooks, cook better, right? Try some of those things. But if they want to go to a nice restaurant, they're probably more likely to choose one of his restaurants. That's the whole idea of a celebrity chef. He's not concerned about sharing this information for free, taking business away from him too. And so thought leadership, it's the same thing really. It's, I want the people who are in this space with me to do this better. And I don't necessarily think I'm better than everyone else, but I've got experiences that I can share that can help people who are at different experience levels understand something different about this thing we all do, and that's great. But from a business standpoint, you can go ahead and make that commitment, that long-term commitment, that we're doing this to build followers. Right? It's not about selling anything, and that's why this stuff is also typically very lightly branded.
If at all.
If at all.
Brought to you by at the end.
Yes, presented by Lucid Thoughts.
Right.
Project we've been doing for one of our clients. It's Lucid Thoughts, and we created an entire Lucid Thoughts channel on YouTube, and it's presented by LucidWorks, which is the name of the company.
Powered by.
Yes, it is powered
went through
by.
many revisions.
We did. It is powered by LucidWorks, and what they're doing is they're explaining AI basics. And so that's going to hit a whole lot of people that may not even be prospects of theirs now. but in 5 years, as they move up through their roles, could become prospects. It's also going to be great for current prospects of theirs. And what they're saying is, we get AI, we get it to a point where we can simplify it.
Yeah.
So that you, as like an engineer or whatever, can actually send this dumbed down version to your boss who will understand this. And you're providing a service by communicating something in an accessible way in that example. So, but yes, this for us is thought leadership content.
Yep.
Okay.
It's about educating
and not promoting.
Not promoting.
Yeah. So that's that kind of pre-awareness level where even if people don't have a need for your product yet or service, they're still benefiting from that content. And so the long play there is eventually they get to a point where they do need you, and you're that trusted resource that has been helping them grow over however long, and then you get kind of almost first right of refusal at that point. They're going to look at you and say, okay, these people know about managing projects, know about AI, know about video. Let me see how they can help me. Okay, so what about still kind of, I mean, it's potentially pre-awareness, it's still, but branded content.
Yeah, I'd put it up there as pretty high, if not the same level.
I think branded content is, and what we mean by branded content is specifically not anything that's got your brand on it. What we're talking about
about your brand.
It's not about your brand. It's
which is weird because it's
branded content. But it's content is the root there, right?
Right.
You're creating content that you know that, or you think you know, that your audience wants to consume. Period. Right? Not consume about your product, not consume about your company, but content that they want to consume. One example is Yeti.
That's exactly who I think of.
Right. Another one is GE with Super Size Me guy.
Oh, yeah.
The documentarian, Palm Wonderful presents... Morgan Spurlock. Thank you, Anthony. Anthony for the assist there. Morgan Spurlock. He runs an entire short documentary site that's paid for and presented by GE. And they're not creating GE content. They're just creating interesting short documentary content about a whole bunch of different stories. Yeti. It's not really making content about Yeti.
It's about the outdoors and the things that their audience identifies with and cares about.
I think the first ones that we ever saw were Tellison stories.
Yeah, I remember you showing those to me.
So this would have been almost 6 years ago. They were very cinematic, and I remember one of them was about who was a guy who owned like an artisan coffee shop, like a coffee bean roastery kind of thing. And another one was about a guy who like fixes vintage motorcycles on his farm. And another one was a guy about a guy who like makes handcrafted wooden boats or something like that. And it's a denim jeans brand.
Yeah.
But and I recall that all of the subjects of those pieces were wearing their jeans.
Yeah, but never talked about it.
But they never talked about it.
Right.
It never came up. You never even really got like that kind of product placement, like, leather badge on the back showing the brand. It was just, these are people that...
brand, like I want to have that lifestyle. I can't just sit on my farm all day and fix motorcycles, so I'll wear those jeans.
Yes.
It's
a very aspirational feel. That guy's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I want to be that guy. So I guess what I know about him is that he wears these jeans.
The step I can take is...
Yes. Which, it could easily turn very cynical,
it could.
I suppose.
You have to be careful with that.
But they were very well done. And, Ryan and Patrick just got done with a series for a car dealership out of Charlotte, where it has nothing to do with cars.
Right.
It's about local stories that this car dealership group... I think, donations that it makes to certain groups in the area. And it told those group stories. And I mean, they took out a billboard outside Charlotte, to get people to go watch these stories. It has nothing to do about the dealership itself.
Right.
It's about, or the auto group itself. It's about these community stories. And that's a great way for that brand to say, hey, we're a local business. We're all about community. This isn't about us. This is about what, I want to take the eyes that are looking at us and put it on these stories. And that's another great way to use branded content. It's not going to help me buy a car, but it may help me decide who to go see about my car.
Exactly.
Because they seem authentic and they seem like,
care about
especially in that industry.
Moving forward, that was branded content. Still very high up in the funnel.
Yep. Because we haven't talked about, like, as a company, why we do what we do.
Right.
Or what it is that we do.
Right.
Or what we make or what we sell or anything like that.
But we're about to get there.
We are.
Again, this isn't an exhaustive list, so we're just trying to move kind of through some of these more obvious types of videos.
Well, obvious to us.
Obvious to us, sure. Brand video. Not branded content is a brand video. It's perhaps a story about your company, why you do what you do, the people involved. It could sometimes it gets muddied,
a lot of ways to do it.
Muddied with a culture video. But this is, I like to think of this as ultimately the Simon Sinek version of why.
Yes.
Why we do what we do.
Yeah. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. This is the first time where you get to say, brand name. We blank. We believe this, right? If you aren't familiar with the Simon Sinek why, then just Google it, watch his, TED Talk. It'll change your world, and I'm guessing 90% of our listeners are already familiar with it because it is just so fundamental.
Very powerful.
So I think another thing, and we put these things in different levels of the funnel at first, but like there's also, and I see this a lot in startups, there's this like founder story. Kind of like origin story.
It's
or like
important if you're going for funding, I think.
Right.
Because you're solving a problem is right?
And I think that's the key is without going into, going back into the whole manifesto and everything like that, like there's a specific purpose for that kind of thing.
Right.
If you're trying to get people to invest in your company, invest money, not buy your product,
right.
But if you're trying to get people to give you hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars, they need to trust you as a person.
Yep.
Because right now, this startup is basically you and your co-founders, and that's it. You are not a brand yet. You are not a company yet. You are individuals who I'm handing money over to hopefully do something that makes me my money back, plus some more.
Yep. Similarly, at the same time companies are raising money, they're also looking to hire some people. And so that can, I think that sort of investment, I'm going to put the next 6 to 12 months of my life into your company. I want to know that we're doing something important.
Yeah.
There's kind of like a triangle there of a variety of videos that could come out of this level.
Yeah. But I so often, and we'll get to this when we talk about testimonials too, but I so often see people who've seen a founder story or like an About Us video, and that's the thing they want to do first.
Sure, it's egotistical.
I think it's egotistical, but I also think I'm also fascinated by this idea that young brands, young marketers don't know how to position themselves, how to talk about themselves. So they want someone else to craft their story for them. So in this case, what they do is they hire a video agency, a video production company, to come in and interview them about like the process of creating this thing. And maybe a better storyline is the process goes back to, well, our co-founders are brothers. And their father used to own a whatever, something like this. And that inspired the brothers after working on Wall Street or whatever to come back and do this, holistic, homey kind of thing. Whatever. I don't know. But they think that by somebody stitching together a story there, they're kind of relying on someone else to say, this is who we are, because they don't really know how to say it themselves. Whereas when we talk about testimonials later, I think the people think that that's the first thing to do because they don't know how to talk about themselves. So I'll just ask my customers about me.
Right.
And they'll define who we are.
Nothing wrong with testimonial videos.
I'm getting more and more passionate about this every day. I think testimonials are very much wrongly placed in the top of the funnel. And they're placed in the top of the funnel because it's so often the things that companies want to do first.
Right.
Because of exactly those reasons. I don't know how to explain myself. I don't know how to talk about my business, my product.
So, since we're there,
sure.
I feel like,
I wanted to do 2 separate rants on the same thing, though.
You bring up that a lot of companies want to jump straight into testimonials and use those at the top of the funnel. That can work, but only at a very specific moment in the lifespan of your business.
Yeah.
When you're crossing the chasm. When the early adopters, the ones who want to say, I was here first,
yes,
get to say to the people who just need a little bit of pushing, they get to say, I did this, it works, I love it, you should do it too. That's all those people need, those early majority need. That might be the only time you want to start there.
Yeah, and so I would say that that's probably very much a startup type situation.
Yeah.
You're kind of at the same stage where you're just past asking people for money. You've got the money to actually create your widget, and now you've gotten a couple people, a couple innovators to take that risk, which they're willing to do, buy your product, try it, and those people want to say, hey, look at me. I did this first. This works. And which is very convenient because the next group of people, right, your early adopters and then your early majority, as you go down through that law of diffusion of innovation, as you get further along, people need more social proof.
Right.
So the early adopters need a little bit of social proof, whereas the innovators need none. They're like, this looks right for me. I'm going to jump on this. Yep. I'm going to be one of the first people. Your early adopters say, this looks really cool. I want to get it on the front of this before everybody's got it. Has anyone else used it? Because I just want to make sure it works. Right. Oh, good. Those innovators who seek out being, hey, I did this, are showing me. And then you've got your early majority, which is probably later in your company at that point anyway.
Yeah, you're in like growth stage at that point.
And now that's where that social proof stuff really belongs down toward the bottom of your funnel.
I still, even though it's early in the company and you've got a couple innovators who are on camera talking about your product or service, personally, I like to think of it as like waiting until you see the whites of their eyes. Sort of thing. Save that. I mean, you can keep it on your site and let people find it.
Yeah.
But let's not push it in front of people until they're like, God, I really like this. I'm not sure. Why don't you see what Jerry said from this company?
Yeah. Why would I really care what someone's experience was with a product or service when I don't even know that I have a problem that it can solve?
Right.
When I don't know that the brand that makes it aligns with my beliefs, goals, whatever.
Don't even know what the product is.
And don't even know what the product is or does.
Right.
And how it can help me. I need to know those things before I need anybody to say, here's how this worked for me. This thing is great. 5-star review.
Yep.
That's why, to me, it is 98% of the time that lower funnel stuff.
Yep.
But yes, I think you're right. There are certain scenarios and certain narrow timings where you just have to put enough out there to say this works so that we can go from just that innovators group to that early adopters group. So that brand video, that company story, that about us, that's kind of there to, again, this is why we do what we do. These are the people. There are another example for a lot of technological companies. They don't want to see they don't want to be seen as this like faceless AI-driven robotic venture. They want to show off that there are people
put humans in
behind this, right? So they want to humanize their brand. That's a great way to humanize the brand. But again, it's probably right to do it when you've identified that there's a certain scale and a certain automation to what you do that you don't feel like your audience or your audience is telling you, I don't really know how to connect with you. I know how to buy from you, but I don't really know what your brand is about. You help me get a product or service that I need, and that could come from your company or someone else. It doesn't really matter. The more that you can drive them to connect with your brand, the more likely they are to buy from you in the first place, and the more likely they are to stick with you.
Yeah,
also,
definitely.
And that's that post-buy part of the funnel, right? Taking people from making that purchase decision to then using it, loving it, becoming advocates. Okay, before we move on, I think it's time for our sponsor.
Sure, it's a good time for that. 2020, The Game. A board game for the whole family. Brought to you by the creators of other classics like Taxes on Taxes. War, the civil kind, comes what 538 calls the board game of the year, which makes sense, it's 2020.
Sure, yeah.
Players split into as many teams as desired, and only 2 get to play. Through a gauntlet of nonsensical whataboutism and paper-thin policy proposals, players will funnel billions of dollars into the hands of the media, who will ultimately decide who wins or loses. You thought Risk was long? 2020 The Game will give you and your family, friends, or worst of enemies 4 years of fun. And the best part is, once the game ends, the next one begins. 2020 The Game, available now.
It sounds so topical.
Yes, it is. And my guess is there'll be a 2024. They'll probably just keep rolling out.
Probably 2022, the midterms edition.
Yeah,
Right?
an expansion pack.
I mean, if I'm getting the vibe of the game right,
Yeah,
it's. But I think you're right. It's not so much that you win the game and then you get to go on and govern. It's you win the game and then you have to start the next game.
Yeah.
I see. No, it's a delightfully cynical approach at modern politics. Yeah. I think what's interesting to me about it is it's not necessarily the smartest, like most strategic player that wins. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's the loudest.
Sometimes it's the loudest, sometimes it's the dumbest, sometimes it's the craziest, sometimes it's the richest. It's kind of different
The rules change all the time.
But there is still, whoever you think it should be usually ends up not winning the game.
Yeah.
And I think there's probably something to be learned there, but
you have to play to find out.
yeah. What about rule changes like term limits or?
Yes.
Is that yes? Okay, good. I'm glad we addressed that. Okay.
There are very few rules, and you don't even have to read them before you play.
Right, and really the players have no control over this because ultimately it's a cabal of, it's a small group of people with a lot of power who decide who wins.
Probably.
You never
that's what
really
it sounded
know.
like.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
we just got started this week.
Yeah.
We're a little late to the game, but we've got a couple years ahead of us here that should be pretty fun.
Yeah, should be suicidal. Okay, well, welcome to our sponsor, 2020 The Game.
Thank you.
All right, let's get back into our funnel here with types of video. All right, so we've stated who we are as a company.
Yep.
Right? Probably why we do what we do.
Mm-hmm. What problem we solve.
Yeah. Now it seems like it's time to talk about what it is we do. Mm-hmm. What do we make? What do we provide?
How do we solve that problem?
Yeah. And so I think that's the catch-all term that I think most people use for that is an explainer video.
Yeah. Or, God, I hate it. I think some people have it's become synonymous with whiteboard video. I need a whiteboard video to explain what I do. No, that's that's creative. You don't need that. You need
You gave me an early testimonials rant. I'll let you go on your whiteboard video rant.
See episodes 1 through 10. I'm sure it's in there.
In my mind, when I hear the term explainer video, I see simple character animation and a script that says, "Meet Susie." Mm-hmm. There's a ball of rage growing inside of me right now. And that is one way. And this is why we're doing the whole series, right? Because we're going to get to a point where we talk about the different styles of video, and we're going to address how to do an animated explainer video, how to do a live action scripted explainer video, how to do a documentary style explainer video. Maybe. There's got to be a way. But the one that most people think of is this animated explainer video. Why? Why do people think of that? No, why do people think of that? Why is that the go-to for so many people?
Well, because they're cheaply done. You can a lot of times somebody from Ukraine or something. Nothing against. I don't even know anybody from Ukraine, but
good people.
Sure, but
some bad.
They work for cheap, and they'll make these things based on templates that have no customized version of it for your product, which sometimes that's honestly what they need.
Sure.
I've been talking to a company out of Texas for a couple. They're still in startup mode. They've got a couple clients, but they've got two. They serve businesses and then they serve people. It's kind of one of those models. And for the people, they're just getting these, for lack of a better term, shitty, cheap, quick videos done, and they're reserving all their big guns for talking to the businesses. Sure, I get it. It's time. Like if you've got limited resources, let's put a focus on getting this here first, and then we'll work on this.
Yeah.
But I think it's just that people see one thing, and at one point, somebody did a really well done Meet Susie video, and someone said, "Oh, I need that, but I need it for a third of the price and in a week."
Right.
And so now,
and the original company that did it was like, "Well, no."
Yeah.
Right. And then they go to someone else and say, "Here, can you make me this for this much?" And they're like, "Sure."
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, there is something relatable to it, but again, at some point you get to like, this has been done before. It's not.
Yes.
It just adds to noise after a certain point, and that's kind of where we are with those things.
I feel
think.
like when people ask for that, they're just looking for content for the sake of content.
But to me, like, to go back to another very accessible example, the original Dollar Shave Club video, to me is an explainer video.
Yes.
Right? In a very entertaining way. It shows me this kind of new, at that time, disruptive.
I've got a problem.
Right? I've got a problem. This is something that's been solved this way forever. These are the problems with that solution. We've solved those problems with that solution by doing it this way.
Yeah.
And we all know how that went.
Yep.
Right? It created an entirely new industry within
direct to
consumer subscription model. I mean, they launched so many of the currently popular business models. And that's an explainer video. It's not animated, right? It's fun and it's snarky, and that was a great decision.
Yep.
Because they knew
that was even the founder,
something.
Which is amazing.
Yeah. But that is an explainer video. That's the essence of an explainer video is, what is my product or service? How can it help you, right? Like, and so to me, they kind of work on three different levels. There's one where you can focus on like super top level, like, this is how our product benefits you. These are problems you have. We solve those problems. It's benefit based, and you're not even really getting into like the features of it.
Sure.
The next level is you start to mix those features and benefits, right? Standard sales conversation. We have this module that does X, and by doing that saves you time, right? Or money or whatever. And then you've got that third level of it that is just about the features.
Sure.
Which can be series of videos, right? Micro demos come in a little bit further down, but this is where you could, I don't want to jump to them right now. But you can just focus on the features too.
Sure.
But if I were focusing on just the features, I'd have it as one of a series of videos, of explainer videos, where I do make sure that I address the benefits too. Because people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. But they also don't buy what you do because of what it does. They buy what you do because of how it's going to help them. And so you've got to focus on those benefits at some point. It doesn't mean you make one explainer video and make sure that it's benefits focused. That's one way to do it. But you can do any combination of features and benefits.
Sure.
With explainer videos. It feels like we're starting to get toward a transition point from like marketing stuff into more sales stuff.
Yep, definitely.
What this next one on our list is kind of that transitional piece. You want to talk about webinars a little bit?
Yeah, webinars. There's been an interesting evolution, I feel like, as live video conferencing has evolved. As technology just become better, you can you can go live with this thing once, record it, export it, put it up on your site for later.
Yep.
You can make it very interactive. You can make it just one person only. So there's a lot of ways to do this, but essentially, I think it's walking someone through like a solution or a product, how it works. They tend to be a little bit more long form. It could be 10 minutes, but I see a lot of them that are easily half hour, hour long.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's fine.
I feel like webinars followed kind of a same arc as podcasts did, strangely. Like, they were kind of the innovators with webinars, like they were innovators with podcasts, and they were like, all of a sudden they were this new thing that were huge. And then like people didn't really know what to do with them. And so they got long, they got specific, they got like, oh, I have a presentation that I go around the country giving. I can just do this on a webinar, you know, doing a screenshot with shitty audio and whatever. And then they turned into like hour-long presentations that you thought people might volunteer to actually watch. And so I think webinars got a little bit like tedious for a while. And then as some of the technology and some of the like video for business maturity started happening, people have started to realize how to kind of repurpose webinars.
Yeah.
And so they're a fantastic lead machine.
Yes.
Right? And I think they weren't necessarily seen as a lead machine before. They were seen as like a thought leadership machine before. But there's such an opportunity to, and the technology is so easy now to get people to sign up for them. And all of a sudden you have lead information.
Yes. Very, very intelligent lead information. Like how long did they watch? Did they engage and
is this
click
their
through
third webinar?
Stuff? Yeah, did they see? Yep.
And so I think that kind of
23 does a great job with their
they do
the hosting platform. For anybody who does a lot of webinars out there, this is not an endorsement, like a paid endorsement. Just simply
sure as hell ain't a paid endorsement. We can ask.
We're agency partners. I think. Let them know we sent you.
Yes.
But I think that was their focus. Mostly, it seems to be where their focus was, at least starting their product.
Yeah.
Some great data from those.
Yeah, so I think webinars, again, are those things that have typically been used higher in the funnel because there was a whole bunch of like thought leadership, subject matter expertise, and now it's being smarter used to address very specific concerns to an audience that is much further down in the consideration part of the model, or whatever the model we decided to use,
might be
in the persuasion decision part, right? And they want to know something very specific, and you want to let them self-educate.
How do I clean up my data for AI-driven technology in 2020?
Yeah. And then I think it's worth mentioning quickly that webinars are oftentimes like, you do a little bit of a promotional punch to say, join me for this Lunch and Learn webinar from noon to 1 p.m. on Tuesday, March, whatever. And so you get people to sign up to actually watch live, but then you shortly thereafter make it available to the public, and you're just capturing that lead information afterward. So there's that's even a way to assess a prospect's interest level. Is this something that they're saying initially that they want to commit time to?
Personally,
block out time, or just go, I set up for a ton just to get the recorded version.
Right. Just because I know that I didn't click the sign in now or whatever, so I know I'm going to get the email later.
Which is, again, something that 23 does great, is they automate all of that follow-up. And you can set custom messages for, a 5-minute heads up before the webinar starts. An email that goes out to attendees, like with the slide deck. And then an email that went to people who signed up but didn't show up. That, is like, here's a recorded, a week later or a day later or whatever.
In that.
Yeah.
People who showed up are probably more likely to buy now because they're trying to solve that problem as soon as possible.
Yes.
They're not that different from a demo. Tell me how they might be different.
There's a couple ways to do it, but in my mind, the true meaning of a demo is a one-on-one conversation, largely virtually, between a salesperson and a prospect. And even if it's a group decision, you're likely getting one decision maker at a time at this point. But it's a one-on-one decision where for the first time somebody has said, I'm interested in this product. I think it could help me. I'd like someone to walk me through exactly how this thing works.
Because I have some specific questions as well. Like I want to.
And so there is, you often see, often too early, you see the call to action of sign up for a demo, request a demo, schedule a demo. What you're doing is you're asking your prospects to say, I'm now ready to move from a marketing lead to a sales lead. I want a salesperson, to take time to walk me through this thing because I'm interested in it to the point where I want very specific information, and I want to be able to ask specific questions that I'm not getting answers to in all of this other one-to-many conversation. That doesn't mean that a demo can't be pre-recorded, but it still feels to me like something that you would pre-record and send to an individual.
Sure.
One at a time, right?
Yep.
It can be made for generically. But a salesperson is taking it and saying, here, I'd like you to watch our demo. I'm sorry we couldn't connect at our scheduled time, but here's a pre-recorded version. Let's schedule a time for you to ask me whatever questions you have, and we can go into it. So it doesn't have to be live, but I think just like with explainer videos, animated is what people think of. I think of that one-to-one.
Yeah, how much more can you get done
real
on a phone
time
call instead of leaving a voice message?
Yeah. So you get to walk them through, and the better prepared you are for that demo also. I mean, a lot of companies that we work with who do the demo approach, they have several pre-demo conversations. Right, where they're understanding which of these modules, which of these features are going to be things that this person's going to be interested in. Yep. Because a lot of platforms have so much going on that it would be a waste of an hour to talk about all 10 feature sets when you know that these are the 3 that are going to get them to buy it, because they're the ones that they're going to use the most. Or 6 of them don't even apply to this particular prospect. So spend the time that you're getting those people to commit. And that's a huge, think about it. This is the first time people are saying, I want to, well, maybe webinars, but again, who shows up for a webinar? I want to dedicate my time to learn about this. I don't want to just dedicate my time. I want someone from your company to dedicate their time to me one-on-one. I don't want to dedicate my time to sit in a lecture hall with 200 other people and listen to kind of a scripted thing. I want to sit one-on-one office hours.
Right? I want to raise my hand every...
And I want to sit that's making a large commitment and asking for a commitment back. And that is a different decision than just saying, yes, I'll spend an hour watching this later. Webinar sometime.
Yeah. But so you're starting to get to the point where you said, even if it is pre-recorded, it'll be very focused on that particular person's or company's problems. So you might tailor this demo to include these 3 feature sets. There's another version which could either go above or below this in the funnel, that we call micro demo, and that is typically just sectioned off pre-recorded features.
Generic, but focusing on a specific feature, or a specific use case, perhaps an industry-specific use case. Perhaps a persona-specific use case.
On that scale of 1 to many and 1 to 1. You can get really close to 1 to 1, or you can kind of scale it up a little bit.
But there's and I would recommend listening to 2 episodes ago when we talked about 1 episode when we talked about scaling. 2 episodes when we talked about, I don't know. I don't have the whiteboard in front of me. I'm in the wrong room. Listen to our scaling episode, but this really goes to that scaling content part, right? Yep. Because if you're using anything, I mean, if you're sharing any information more than once, I mean, there's a way to do this so that you can scale it and have a huge library that you're picking from. Yep. So it's a great way to say, here's our generic 1-hour demo, but since in previous conversations we've talked about, let's stick with project management, Gantt charts, team responsibilities, and whatever. Calendar. And calendar. I've included these 3 micro demos, whatever those 3 things were I just mentioned that I've already forgotten, right? Because then those, you get like the hour-long, here's our platform as a whole, here's our service as a whole, whatever. But then because I know this is interested to you, also watch these 3, which could be 2 minutes or 10 minutes, but it's a deeper dive into just those things and it's a great way, and you don't even need the top-level demo. A salesperson can send a very personalized Go Video type email message, create a playlist. Say, hey, Justin, great time walking through the demo with you. Or I'd love to get you on a demo, but I wanted to send you, something smaller first. Either way it works. But, after this video, I've got 3 videos of the playlist, Gantt charts, calendar, and the third thing that we talked about that are important to you. Give them a watch, come up with some questions, and let's go over those. Yep. Let's talk about those. So it's a great way to just kind of package up, again, that more. And so even when and we talked about this in scaling, even when you kind of bookend something with a personalized message, it makes everything else that's connected to it feel personalized.
Yep. It's all matters. Perception is reality.
Even. Yeah, micro demos are really fun, and there are a lot of ways to scale with it. We spend a lot of time doing like 3-dimensional matrices for our clients, figuring out the best way to scale things and whatnot. And this is a way to do that. So let's move on now to testimonials, user/success stories, and case studies.
So we touched on this a little bit earlier.
We'll forego the rant.
Sure. Just rewind a little bit.
Because we are lower down in the funnel where they belong.
Yep.
What are the differences between testimonials, success stories, and case studies?
I would say a testimonial is more of that endorsement, a client's endorsement of your brand, of your product. Just say, they can say whatever they want,
yes.
Right? They're great to work with. I love my account manager. We were up and running. Our time to value was like 3 weeks, like whatever they want to say.
Yeah.
We're making...
Saves me an hour a day.
Yes, exactly. A case study is a little bit more, I would say, through the lens of the company. Here's our client's situation.
Very much.
Yeah.
So I see a case study very specifically as it's data driven, and it's structured as problem, solution, outcome.
Yeah.
So to me, I see a case study, you can utilize your client's testimonial potentially as part of a case study. But you're saying, as the creator of the product or service, this is how we helped a client of ours solve this problem.
Yes.
So we're going to state their problem. We're going to state the solution that we presented to them.
Remain nameless.
Sure. This is the solution we presented to them, and these are the outcomes that they got.
Mm-hmm.
It's a deeper level of social proof because you've got an audience who likely have a very similar problem.
Sure.
So they can see, we've got that same problem. That's not exactly how I would fix it, but I can see that they've got options.
Yeah.
But that is the outcome I want.
Yeah.
So that is a much deeper dive than just a 30-second clip of a client saying, this platform is great, customer service is excellent to work with, my account manager, Phoebe, is fantastic, and I save an hour a week from what I was doing before.
Yep.
Right? It's a much deeper dive. And then in between those two are kind of user stories or success stories. It's something that's got a little bit more of a testimonial. You could send any video crew out to a client's office and say,
just let the client
how does this work? Yeah. Do you like them?
Yeah.
What do you like about working with insert company name? I mean, it is hugely
it's formulaic.
Hugely formulaic.
Yeah.
A user story, a success story requires more knowledge of the problems that your product solves and deeper questions so that you can guide your customer and client to kind of share a success, but share it on a level that doesn't go as like clinical as a case study does, but still also feels focused on the client.
Where a case study is data-driven, still outcome-focused, but data-driven, I would say user stories, success stories are emotionally driven.
Yeah.
As opposed
the best ones, yeah.
So they're very much the same.
And you can do all of them because different people need different things.
Yeah, for sure.
So I am a very numbers-driven person. I don't really care how happy a product made someone. I care about bottom line. What did it, investing this got me this back. But a lot of people want to feel the way that other people feel. I don't know feelings.
Yeah.
I don't care about that. But a whole lot of people do. And so that's,
so in B2B, case studies might have more of an impact than a user story.
Yes.
You see user stories a lot in the B2C world.
Yeah.
You see testimonials in both.
But it's important to remember that these are lower funnel videos, not top of funnel videos. rewind to 18 minutes and 30 seconds or whatever the right time is to listen to that rant. Talk to me a little bit about FAQ videos and how-to videos, because that feels like another transition point where we're kind of going from like the last bit before somebody makes a buying decision, but also kind of crossing over into, okay, now I bought this thing. How do I do this?
So if I'm still before the conversion, before the decision to buy, I might go look at how does the product, like how do I do XYZ with this product? And some like a lot of software companies will have a knowledge base where you can kind of go through and learn how to do certain things. Those could probably be recycled from micro demos or vice versa. But those FAQs or like might even be like, what's your return policy? So I can mitigate risk.
Yep.
Or what is your average time to value? Stuff like that that helps mitigate risk, I think is what. If
I sign up for the annual pricing, can I cancel at any time and get a refund? Can I? Yes. I think risk mitigation is a great way too, and for the laggards or like the absolute introverts who really don't want to talk to anybody,
this can help
or
push
people
them,
who don't want to be sold by a salesperson. This is your last chance to really get everything detailed out there. This is the last like wall of defense and the self-education thing. It's like, here, I got nothing else I can throw at you that isn't a specific thing where you got to talk to somebody one-on-one. And I think that kind of goes into onboarding too, right? Like, now I've bought this thing. So there's a way to provide people with, FAQs and how-tos and knowledge bases once they get it. But there's a lot of value in just showing people through video content how to use this thing that they've just bought, right? So I think that onboarding is something that's congratulations, welcome to the family. We're so excited, to have you using our product. Here we're going to walk you through so that you can get the most out of it, right? And so it's there to get them to understand the platform or product or service enough so that they really don't have to go to the how-to or the knowledge base kind of thing, right? And they also don't have to like use support tickets and things like that.
Right.
So it's important to
create a lot of time on that end.
So that's just kind of a fundamental piece of that. Okay, how do I actually use this thing that I've spent likely a lot of money on, or my company has spent a lot of money on? I think that kind of brings us to the end of the typical funnelistic customer journey kind of thing. It doesn't mean there aren't other types of videos.
Right.
And I think we should leave ourselves the flexibility in the remaining episodes when we're talking about styles to bring up particular other types of videos that may work really well for that style. But I don't feel like we necessarily need to go into them now. I mean, we're talking about, like we mentioned beginning, like we're talking about recruiting videos, internal comms, training.
Yeah.
Event stuff has its own funnel. I mean, it's stuff that all has value, but it fits outside of kind of the primary customer journey, which I think is where most of our listeners are concerned, is how to get people, from marketing to sales to customer success.
Yeah. Revenue-focused videos.
And, of course, there's, like, viral video that we don't. Right. Again,
which will be probably its own series.
Yes.
It's a very complicated process.
The definitive guide on how to make a viral video.
Right.
Yes. Sure. Okay, so in our next episode, we're going to take a look at our first style of video. Which style will we be looking at?
I don't know. Have we thrown a dart yet?
We haven't thrown a dart yet. We've got a blank on this page, and we decided we were just going to decide in the moment, and that was our next episode in this series.
Why don't we let our audience decide?
Why don't we decide and tell them that our next video in this series, we're going to look at the style of live action scripted.
Okay. That's our favorite.
It is our favorite. That's why I went with it. So
for good reasons.
Yes, and I do want to clarify. This is one of those series, kind of like the hiring series, where we're going to break these episodes up. We're not going to spend like the next 6 episodes just diving into styles. We're going to rotate through these just because if nobody cares, we don't want them to drop off for 6 months or whatever. So the next episode in this series, which is called the something series,
Yeah,
which is called a series that we'll figure out once we have to publish this thing. We'll be looking at live action scripted videos.
Other options are character animated, abstract animation, whiteboard, and we probably won't do that. What else?
Live action doc style.
Live action doc.
Like live action unscripted.
Well, we got
a bunch. We got a bunch of them. Okay, so if that doesn't wet your whistle for the next episode in the series, I think it probably doesn't, because we could have done that better. Make sure that you subscribe to the podcast so that you can get notifications when those episodes do come out. Rate us, review us, like us on Facebook. I'd like to thank our sponsor one more time.
Yes, 2020 the game.
All right.
Read the.
You want to read the spot again? Yeah.
A board game for the whole family. Brought to you by the creators of other classics like Taxes on Taxes, War, the Civil Kind.
That's my favorite.
Comes what 538 calls the board game of the year. Players split into as many teams as desired, and only two get to play. Through a gauntlet of nonsensical whataboutism and paper-thin policy proposals, players
very good alliteration.
Will funnel billions of dollars into the hands of the media, who will ultimately decide who wins or loses. You thought Risk was long? 2020 the game will give you and your family, friends, or worst of enemies 4 years of fun. And the best part is, once the game ends, the next one begins. 2020 the game, available now.
All right.
You can't even avoid it. Like, it's available now, but it'll get crammed down your throat. Yeah.
Yes. I'm really looking forward to the October surprise add-on package.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that always shakes things up. Okay, so thank you for joining us on Instagram Live or on Apple Podcasts or wherever we host the video versions of this. I think this is us signing off from the drywall enclosed nerve center podcast studio galore here for Storyboard Media, located in lovely downtown Durham, North Carolina. Oh, there's that music playing us out. Should we? Yeah,
I'd love to sit here and banter. I've got to.
Yeah, you got to go.
Yep.
I'm starving.
Where you go for lunch?
I don't know.
You gonna make something?
No.
Make a little sandwich, bocadillo?
Tapas does sound kind of good. Was it Tuesday specials at Mateo? We might have to go to Mateo for lunch.
Oh, they have Tuesday specials?
Yeah. I have to ask Tucker about it.
See if they want to sponsor us.
2 tapas for $10 on Tuesdays.
Nice.
Tucker says.
Okay.
Just wanted to throw in another T there. Tucker tells us Mateo has 2 tapas for $10 on Tuesday.